Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to start a new series, and this is for beginner trappers. So if you're just interested in getting into trapping, you're in the right place. I'm going to go through all the knowledge I have until I get to the point where I'm out of knowledge, and then I will keep updating you as I learn more. But what I'm going to do in this is going to be episode 1. We're going to talk about the tools of the trade, what you need to get started trapping. And at the end of this video, I'm going to throw out some prices and costs of stuff, a general ballpark of what you're going to need. So number 1, so you want to trap. What are you going to trap? Are you going to be trapping strictly raccoons? Are you strictly going after canines? Are you strictly going to be a water trapper? For all sakes and purposes, just for this video, I'm going to assume that you want to be a general trapper, somebody who wants to trap anything from coyotes all the way to muskrats. Okay, so first I'm going to show you all the traps you can use. Now, very important, you have to look up in your state what you legally can use, and we'll go over that throughout the course of this video. I'm going to try to keep this video short and brief and just a good introduction to trapping if it's something you're interested in. So here we go. It's here on the back of my tailgate, and these 3 traps are what I use most of the time. This is a Bridger number 2 dogless. This is my favorite type of trap. I like the size of the trap. I like the fact that there's not a dog that I have to worry about. The dog on the trap, let me show you on a different one. This right here is the dog of a trap. This is, you lay this over your jaw, hook it into the pan of your trap, and whenever an animal steps on it, that's what triggers it. What I don't like about traps with dogs is they normally get bent up. Now, I've never used an MB550, but I've heard that they're great. So first thing you need to do, determine what kind of traps you can use for your state and what you're going after. So this trap right here works really good for coyotes, bobcats, fox, coons, possums, skunks, everything that I'm trying to catch on land. This trap works perfect for. I started by using Duke number 3s, and I didn't like how they were a little bit rough on some of the fox that I was catching. So I ended up changing over to just the Duke number 2, and it seems to work great for me. So if you're going after general predators, coyotes, just everything, this is a great trap to have, or a trap like this. Once again, I'm not brand specific. You look up whatever you want to look up. Now, if you're only going to go after coons, I really recommend some form of dog-proof trap. This is a Duke dog-proof. They're extremely easy to set. The way that they work is you just put bait down in that hole underneath that trigger, and on this one it is a pull trigger, so that animal pulls up on it and it gets caught. So you're only going to catch animals that have dexterity in their hands. Now, I have seen videos and pictures of people that have caught red fox and gray fox in those things, because they will play around with stuff. But I've never caught a cat in one of those. I've never really caught in my non-target. So I've caught in these things before. I've caught skunks, possums, and coons. That's it. And then actually I've had mice and chipmunks climb down in there to try to get that bait and get hurt themselves. So these are my 2 go-to traps overall. In Pennsylvania, we have a cable restraint season, and this is my favorite time of year because I normally do very well during cable restraints. I normally catch a lot more. And not every state has this. I believe there's only 3 states that you're allowed to use cable restraints, and some of the other states you're allowed to use snares, and other states you're not allowed to use cable devices at all. Once again, check your laws. This is nice because they're pretty cheap. I think you can buy one of these things for like $2 to $3. They normally sell everything in a dozen, so that's another thing to keep in mind. The more traps you purchase, the more money you're going to save on those traps. So that right there covers a big section for land trapping. So you've got your number 2 is what I like to use for coyotes, fox, bobcat. I mean, it catches everything on the land. I've even seen videos where people have caught bear and had to release bear with a Bridger number 2. The Duke dog proof, or any kind of dog proof trap, is great for catching those coons, possums, skunks, and prevent yourself from catching your neighbor's pets. That's a good plus. And then in PA, you have the cable restraint, and some of the places you have snares. So let's move on to water trapping. Before I go to water trapping, I do realize that in some states you legally have to use a cage trap to catch everything. And I apologize, like, I'm not trying to be, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not trying to leave you guys out, you guys and gals out, but I understand that. So I don't have to use cage traps here, so I don't buy them because they're bulky, they're cumbersome, and I like to move fast when I'm out there doing trapping. So now to water trapping. So you remember how I said it's important for you to check your laws on what you're allowed to use? Well, I didn't do that when I bought some water traps, and I found out really quickly that I'm not allowed to use them. So these have never been set, but I bought a TS85 for beaver, and the jaw length of this thing, the spread of this trap is too big for Pennsylvania, so I'm not allowed to use that. So that'll probably come up in a future giveaway. And another thing that I purchased, because I thought it'd be awesome, is I bought a colony trap that you're supposed to be able to put in like a muskrat run and catch numerous muskrat in a day or a night. Also, not allowed to use that in Pennsylvania, which again has never been set. It's been sitting in my little kiddie pool up front because I was going to try to get it all rusted up, and then started checking out my regs and realized you're not allowed to use that. So it's important to check. But if your state allows these kind of things, these are awesome. You can catch mink and muskrat in these things. And what's nice is the gate opens up like this. So you put it in a run, you know where muskrats are swimming. Put this thing in a run, muskrat swims into it, gets stuck inside, and it can't get out. The doors only open one way. And that way you can catch multiple muskrats in a night. Now in PA, I'm allowed to use conibears. So here's the 110, and these work great. You know, if you put these things out in front of a muskrat hole, you'll catch them. They'll swim right into there, and you will catch them. The bad thing is, you can only catch one at a time. So, if you can use the colony traps, I highly recommend them, but probably a combination of both would work for most people. So, this is a 110 conibear. They have numerous sizes. 110 is what I use for muskrat and mink. And then here you got this big, huge one. This is a 330, which you can use for beaver and otter. In PA, you're only allowed to catch one otter with a tag. And we have numerous different laws for beavers all across the state. Some areas you're only allowed to catch 5 beavers. In my area, you're allowed to catch 40 beavers. I mean, it's all over the place. I wish someone would tell me where the beaver are in my area, but I only got 2 this last year, and they were my first 2 beavers. I actually caught them with this trap here. This is a Duke number 3. Now, I use this trap because, one, I wasn't allowed to use this trap. I'd prefer to use this, but I found out that you can use like a number 4 size trap. So I might buy some more traps, some number 4 footholds for beaver, but you got to look at your regulations for your state. And when you find out that you can't have a trap beyond a certain jaw length or jaw spread, then look up what the jaw spread of the traps are. That way you can determine your purchase. So I used this, caught 1 beaver by the front leg, got it, and caught another beaver by the back leg and also got it. So it worked great for me. But the first beaver was 44 pounds, 44.8. And the second one was only, I didn't weigh the second one, but I know it was probably only about a 30-pound beaver. So if they would have gotten any bigger than that, I might have had some serious issues. Also, if you take the cable course in Pennsylvania, you can use a snare for beavers. And in other states, you're allowed to use snares for, you know, coyotes and bobcats and all those things. But in our state, we're only allowed to set snares underwater. The difference between a snare and a cable restraint, because here's your snare. A snare can close all the way. So if a beaver swims into this thing and it goes all the way down, I mean, it can clamp onto the, you know, any size. It goes all the way. And when that beaver tries to get out, it will not relax. Okay. So if that beaver releases tension, this snare is going to stay as tight as that beaver pulls it. Right. That's why it normally leads to a quick dispatch of that animal. A cable restraint, on the other hand, has numerous different devices on it that prevents it from killing that animal. So with this, I'll show you all the tighter it can go. It's hard to do with one hand, but I'll show you. We're almost there. It's all the tighter it can go. Now, I know that seems like a small loop, but if a deer steps into this, it's able to step out. And if you catch a coyote, its head will fit right into this, and it will get right around its throat, and it will not choke it out. They did all this, I'm guessing they did all this science to figure that out, but I have never found a coyote that was passed out or anything like that from this. And actually, most of them are very lively in pulling back and forth. But if the coyote relaxes, this thing will slide backwards. So this is called a relaxing lock, and it will just slide back. Also, another thing you got to think about when you buy these types of traps, also, here's another one. I got a Duke number 1 foothold that I can use for muskrat and mink. You know, I wouldn't put this on land. I mean, you could probably catch a coon with this, but I've caught some pretty big coons, so I like to, you know, use bigger traps for that. So there you go. That's the traps that you need to run your line. Now, in other states, there's more traps that you can use, but these are the ones that I use in Pennsylvania. hope that you take away from these videos more than anything else is, if you're interested in doing it, no one's gonna do it for you. Get outside, start trapping, start hunting, start fishing, just get outdoors. I didn't have someone to teach me how to trap. Everything I learned how to do was from YouTube. One of the reasons why I made this channel was just that. I felt that there wasn't enough information out there. There's so much out there nowadays, but I just wanted to simplify things. So get out there and trap. You're gonna make mistakes. Just take the time to make sure that your mistakes aren't gonna get you in trouble with the law. So make sure that you're doing things as best to your knowledge. And if you do come across a game warden and he does ask you questions, be honest, be truthful, tell him what you're up to, tell him you're a beginner. Every encounter I've ever had with game wardens has gone very well because I'm honest. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this. God bless, tight chains, and I'll see you all in the next one.